what's hidden behind.
It's remarkable actually how it has turned out.
Has it changed that much since you last saw it?
A little bit.
Yeah.
The king's role certainly changed. He was Prince of Wales when the artist started.
Someone asked me if I get nervous before unveilings, and well, no, not normally, but then the subject doesn't normally become king halfway through the process. So
The monarch butterfly here, a symbol of metamorphosis.
Is King Charles the supposed Antichrist? Yes. No. Well, maybe. Everybody knows by now that King Charles has unveiled his portrait, and the royal family has decided to splash this portrait with their absolute favorite color, that color being satanic red. Or it just could be splashed with human blood. If they were to tell you that this portrait was made with human blood, would it really surprise you? Would you really be shocked? But going back to the Antichrist, you have to be very careful when labeling anybody the Antichrist, because everybody throughout history, even going back to Nero, if not before, has been labeled the supposed Antichrist. I even had somebody in one of my previous videos tell me that I was the Antichrist, which was kind of weird. The video had nothing to do with spirituality or demons. It was all about how Final Fantasy 16 was the worst video game ever. So according to that person, based upon that review, I was ushering in the four horses of the apocalypse. So as you can see, anybody, anywhere, at any time can get the label of the Antichrist. But are we indeed in the days of the Antichrist? Is the Antichrist coming? And the answer for that lies over in Israel. Interestingly enough, in my last Red Heifer video, I did ask people of Islam faith, or those who have knowledge of Islam, do they also believe in the arrival of a Antichrist-like figure, just like Christians do? In Christianity, we know of the Antichrist because the Antichrist is the man of sin. The man of sin walks into the temple of God, desecrates the temple, and proclaims to be God himself. So how does this all connect to today? The Antichrist, the temple? Well, we do know that Israel has 4 red heifers. With the update I gave about 2 weeks ago, these 4 red heifers are still without blemish. The Pentecostal Christians that helped deliver these red heifers over to Israel and the certain sect of Jewish people in Israel are ready to sacrifice these 4 red heifers. This group of people ready for the sacrifice, they're saying these red heifers, they are in their 2nd year. If they wait any longer, they could start to get older, they will start to show blemishes, their hair will start to change. They cannot wait any longer. Matter of fact, there was a rabbi in Israel that wanted the sacrifice to be performed during Passover, April 22nd. So then that begs the question, they have the 4 red heifers, they're still in pristine condition. The last sacrifice, the Second Temple, was over 2,000 years ago. So what are they waiting for? Could they be waiting for a certain individual to pass away so they can be reborn into this Antichrist-like figure? But before we do get into that, we do have to remember what the whole sacrifice details. Basically, a heifer or these heifers will be burned alive on top of an altar. This altar is on the Mount of Olives, which overlooks the temple. What currently sits at the temple's place is the Dome of the Rock. The Dome of the Rock is an Islamic shrine at the center of the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound on the Temple Mount in the Old City of Jerusalem, the 3rd most holiest site in Islam. So we can already see the big uh-oh taking place here. So what is supposed to happen is that the temple is supposed to be built, the heifers are to be sacrificed, their ash is to purify the temple, the temple's instruments, and the temple's priest. Jewish people, they do not believe that Jesus Christ is the Messiah. Their Messiah has yet to come. But by performing this ritual, their Messiah will make themselves known, and this Messiah will proclaim to be God. So essentially you can see where I'm heading with this. This Messiah for the Jewish people, for other religions like Christianity or perhaps Islam, is in actuality the Antichrist. So whether you are religious or not, you can see that there are religious groups, there are people that are gearing up this time to be the time of the Antichrist. But there are religious leaders in Israel that are saying that the red heifers still have time to grow, and they are looking for the sacrifice to take place in 2025. And if that is indeed true, the sacrifice could coincide with somebody's death, that death being King Charles. News and media have stated that King Charles does have about 2 years left to live, so that would push it to about 2026. But we do know that cancer can become very aggressive. While 2 years is a outlook, his health could take a turn for the worse at any time. He He could pass away in a month, he could pass away in a year. If we are to believe that the royal family are ritualists, that they take part in demonic worship, play with demons, then it's no surprise that they would prime their king into being rebirthed or transformed into this Antichrist-like Messiah. Occultism has always played a part in the royal family, going back to John Dee and Queen Elizabeth and even to Aleister Crowley. But going back to King Charles' portrait, there are things that you have picked up on, you in the comment section, that you told me about that absolutely blew my mind, that I did not pick up on, and it comes in the form of two specific animals. One of those animals, of course, being the monarch butterfly. Now, to many people, the monarch butterfly happens to be a beautiful creature that connects to the royal family. But for those that know that the monarch has multiple different meanings, and one of those meanings happens to connect to Project Monarch or Project Monarch Mind Control, which is a continuation of MK Ultra Mind Control. Project Monarch is the stages of mind control, the techniques of mind control used on a person even before they are born, when they are in the womb, when electroshock therapy is applied, to when they blossom into an adult that is fully broken. So that's one way we can look at the monarch butterfly that is seen over King Charles' shoulder in his portrait. But the meaning and what's widely accepted about the symbol of the butterfly means transformation, rebirth, change, metamorphosis. That is also what I see when I look at this monarch butterfly in this portrait, that they are telling us that King Charles is going to go through some type of rebirth, a transformation, or a metamorphosis. And the idea behind this transformation, this rebirth, becomes a little bit more interesting when you look at the entirety of the mirrored version of this portrait. When you look in the middle of this mirrored portrait, many of you have stated that you see a demon, you see the Baphomet. You have also stated that you see a demon giving birth. But many of you also stated that you also see a cow as well, a red cow. And yes, upon looking at this, you can definitely see what looks like to be a red cow's head with a crown on the top. What's eerie is that this portrait was made with the intentions that you can see multiple different things and multiple different meanings. For example, this red cow can also look like the Baphomet. We also have to ask ourselves, why indeed did they decide to go with the color red, as the color red is not associated with the royal family. The colors associated with the royal family happen to be purple and blue. Even though the color red has been worn by the royal family, it's not the de facto color that defines the royal family. There's also been another question on my mind as well. Who was the first person that started to pass around images of King Charles' portrait mirrored? There have been many bizarre portraits that have been painted, and painted of famous people as well. Even Barack Obama has had a very bizarre portrait that was painted of him. Do you remember copies of these other portraits being mirrored and being passed around the internet? I don't. But it was this portrait here of King Charles that was mirrored almost hours after it was unveiled and passed around the internet. Now, I cannot tell you when it started to first float around, but I can definitely tell you where I saw it, and I first saw it on Reddit. It was a post made by somebody named Lonely Hebrew. That was the very first time that this mirrored image of this portrait was seen on the conspiracy boards of Reddit. Matter of fact, it has 3,000 upvotes, over 600 comments, and over 1,000 shares. Isn't that such an odd name for being the very first person to post this on the conspiracy board of Reddit, Lonely Hebrew? Once again, where is the red heifer sacrifice taking place? Israel. But I am sure that is all just one big coincidence. So again, there is a reason they want us to see the mirrored image of this portrait. There is a reason so many people are seeing the Baphomet, a demon, or even a red heifer in this portrait. This is all done by design. These so-called elitist people, they are masters at manipulation. They are masters at subliminal messaging. For instance, we still do not know where Princess Kate is. For months, they had the media making you believe that something nefarious was going on, something sinister. She disappeared. No one wakes up one day and says to themselves, geez, I wonder how Princess Kate is doing today. No, it's the media that was goading you into believing she disappeared or something happened to her. They bring the public down this rabbit hole of AI photos, AI videos, where we see videos and photos that clearly are not Princess Kate. And they're telling us, the media is telling us, the royal family, Kensington Palace, is no longer to be trusted. So they really have our attention when it comes to her disappearing. What happens in March 3/22, the day of Skull and Bones? She announces she has cancer. And now the media has turned it around and made you the bad guy. You the bad guy for asking questions about this disappearance that this same media had started. So again, these people are masters at manipulation, mental gymnastics, psyops, subliminal messaging. Then there are people that are saying, well, why would King Charles even want something like this? It's hideous. Because this is exactly what they want the public to see. They want the public to see King Charles surrounded by fire or blood. They want the public to see the butterfly. They want the public to see the Baphomet. They want the public to see the red heifer. These are not the only animals associated with red and blood when it comes to the royal family. A couple weeks back, we did see in the United Kingdom those horses that were running wild and they were covered in blood. The same exact time these horses were running wild in the street, Big Ben also happened to come to a complete stop. Many people instantly connected those horses covered in blood to the end of days, to prophecy. How once again the media were running article after article how these horses, these blood-soaked horses running through the United Kingdom were a dark omen. But going back to Kate Middleton, it kind of all adds up when she was seen wearing the same dress that was seen in Rosemary's Baby, where the whole movie was about this woman, Rosemary, giving birth to the actual Antichrist. Because what is that once again but subliminal messaging? Because once we saw this dress, we, the public, we all connected it instantly to Rosemary's Baby. 2024 is such a weird and bizarre year, and it seems like I've said in previous videos that this year is the year of the demon, but in actuality, it really is the year of the dragon. With all these quote-unquote coincidences seeming to point to this year being the year of the Antichrist. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, please subscribe. If you're already subscribed, please like, as any engagement does help the channel grow. Once again, thank you so much for your support.